Go to the slideshow once. Okay.
Right.
I'm a person who loves history, okay? So I keep boring people by saying the history of everything, when I talk about things. So this man, Stanford Christie Barnum, in the year 1864, that is on the day March 15th, I would say, rubber dam was born then. He just punched a hole on a piece of rubber and slipped it over a mandibular molar and weighed it down with some weights to isolate that tooth. And that was the start of rubber dam. 150, more than 150 years back, this guy did that. He was a practicing dentist in New York City. And continuing his legacy in 1882, the SS White came up with the rubber dam punch. And then the Palmer notation we all remember, right? The Delaire Palmer came up with the rubber dam clamps to stabilize the rubber dam onto the tooth. So that was the beginning. And though it was done, many years back, we still are learning in the learning process of how to use it. So this is something which we would all want to know. The basics of rubber dam is being covered. At the end of this, you would realize that it is something which you have to do and practice and then learn. In the sense, like, it is, though you talk about the theory a lot, unless and until you start doing it on your own, and unless and until you improvise on it, you will not be able to do it. So something as simple as a rubber dam is a boon to us because it can reduce a lot of discomfort to the patient as well as for us, and in the present scenario, reduce a lot of infection. That is possible in a dental operator. So it is just a flat, thin sheet of latex or non-latex that is held by a clamp retainer and a frame. Two things are there, a retainer and a frame to hold this rubber sheet taut. And this rubber sheet is perforated to allow the tooth or teeth that you want to work on. That will be protruding through the perforations in the sheet, and all other teeth and the oral cavity are completely covered and protected by the dam, and you can work comfortably without any instrument falling into the mouth or all the irrigants or whatever you're using on the tooth falling into the mouth, which makes the patient very comfortable and your work time is reduced. I will come into the advantages of a rubber dam. So one of these rubber dam companies came up with a tagline, do better what you see and see better what you do. I agree with them totally. You can definitely do better work and see better while you work with a rubber dam. So with the coronavirus shadowing the whole world, there is a huge paradigm shift in the practice of dentistry. So more than isolation, rubber dam is going to help us control infection or reduce the viral load in the aerosol that we generate. Till now, scientific associations never said that rubber dam, in their guidelines, that rubber dam is mandatory. They were always saying whenever possible. They were saying the advantages of rubber dam is very high, and you can, the quality assurance guidelines of the American Association of Endodontists said that cleaning, shaping, disinfection, and obturation of all canals are accomplished using an aseptic technique with the dental dam isolation whenever possible. I'm sure all these associations are going to change their guidelines and make it mandatory, or it should be a must for everybody to use a rubber dam. Sadly, in our present scenario, in the undergraduate course, BDS, it has not been mandatory or nobody has been trained for it. So, people don't know how to use a rubber dam, and it is not anything great, it's something very, very simple. There's so many myths about rubber dam which prevents people from doing it. It takes too long to apply. I would say once you practice it, it hardly takes you seconds or minutes to do it. Patients do not readily accept it. I've never come across a patient who said no to rubber dam. And patients become nervous and irritated by it. Yes, especially in pediatric dentistry, some patients would want to know what you're doing. And you might have to, explain to them that this is what is a rubber dam and it is going to be more convenient for you with it. So that's it. And restorations and endodontic treatment that definitely be done better with the rubber dam. There's no comparison. Once you feel the comfort of it, you would know that, especially when you're doing endodontic procedures with the rubber dam, irrigants don't leach out, saliva does not contaminate your cavity or the root canals. So the outcome is going to be definitely much, much better with the rubber dam on than without the rubber dam. And all this has been disproved by studies for sure. I would like to tell you 9 reasons to dam it. Isolation and moisture control. Like I said, the tooth is completely isolated and the patient does not spit out or anything. So your tooth is completely isolated and your restoration or your endodontic procedure is going to be much, much, much more of superior quality than your procedure without a rubber dam. Safety is another factor which I would like to emphasize upon. Basically, because whenever you're doing pediatric dentistry, for so far as I'm concerned, the chances of you slipping an instrument is very high because when saliva touches your finger, it becomes slippery and the instrument can slip into the patient's throat very easily. So if they ingest it, it is dangerous. If they aspirate it, it's even more dangerous. To prevent that, rubber dam is one of the safest things. To that extent that if in countries like US, if there is a litigation and the dentist is not using a rubber dam, he or she can't even fight her case. That is the situation. So in India, sadly, we don't, go do the such stringent rules. Don't have such stringent rules to protect the patient, right? So safety is another factor. Another thing is, the aerosol that is generated again is very, very less compared to the other situation. That is where the patient's mouth is open and all the aerosol or the patient's oral cavity is full of bacteria and viruses or whatever, and it gets spread into the air completely. So that again can be reduced completely with the use of rubber dam. Studies have shown that there is a 98.8% reduction when a rubber dam is used, when the surface is around 3 meters around the working environment, when the surfaces were tested for bacteria and viruses, they realized that there is a 98.8% of reduction of contamination when a rubber dam was used. Your clean field is very advantageous because there is no contamination, there's no bleed, there is this thing, and clean field provides better visibility as well. Another thing is I would like to say is there is the tactile sensation of the dentist gets better because every time you are using an instrument in the patient's mouth without a rubber dam, you grasp your instruments very, very tight, basically because you're scared of slipping it. So with the rubber dam, you're safe. So your dexterity improves. You're just lightly holding it so that you can get the tactile sensation of the root canal actually, rather than holding it very, very hard. Visibility again is better because of the clean field. There are no delays. The patient wouldn't want to spit out umpteen times. That is the most important thing. Otherwise, the patient with the wet mouth, or when something leaches into the mouth, or if you use something, say an irritant which is unpleasant, that goes into the mouth, the patient would want to spit out. The patient would want to explore the cavity. So tongue and all the delays, patient wouldn't talk. So all this is being taken care of, and the delay for the procedures have been completely stopped with the use of a rubber dam. Access is better, tissue retraction is better. Tissue retraction again is one beautiful thing that happens with rubber dam. The cheeks are not troubling you, the tongue is not troubling you. The patient has no curiosity. Even if the patient is curious, they won't be able to explore the cavity and contaminate it. So all that is going to help you save a lot of time and energy. Patient is comfortable because there is nothing leaching into the mouth, nothing going into the throat, all this restoration pieces, and when you're cutting the cavity, or nothing happens. And again, it looks more professional. Patient feels you're more professional. Sometimes the patient asks you whether this is a new thing that is happening. So you would feel that, feel happy because the patient many times doesn't know about it. And once you give them the comfort of a rubber dam, they would come back and ask you for a rubber dam. So that's what I would like to say about the advantages or the comfort of using a rubber dam. So, like I said earlier, fine aerosols generated by high-speed dental equipment consist of moisture droplets and debris that can remain suspended in the air. And without adequate protection, aerosols may reach the depth of lungs. Both aerosol particles and splatter droplets can contain infectious agents. So I was mentioning this earlier. There was a 98.8 reduction in bacterial contaminated within 1 meter. Sorry, 3 meters is what I said. 1 meter when the rubber dam was used, and this reduction increased with antiseptic mouth rinse when used before rubber dam application. So infection control along with isolation is what we are going to achieve by uh, using a rubber dam. I cannot emphasize more upon the significance of using a rubber dam. So, with a pre-procedural mouth rinsing, barrier protection, where all the surfaces and your personnel is covered with barriers, and rubber dam isolation reduces the chance of you getting an infection. Pre-procedural mouth rinse, I would like to say, there are many options. With the current literature, they say 1.5% hydrogen peroxide is one of the most effective agents. 1% povidone solution, again, also is as good as hydrogen peroxide. 0.05% hypochlorous acid is also good. And they say the least efficacy is with the 2% chlorhexidine mouthwash that we use routinely. So hydrogen peroxide seems to be the best, followed by povidone iodine, followed by hypochlorous acid, and then your chlorhexidine mouth rinse. So these can be used for a pre-procedural mouth rinsing. Just mandatory that the patient is given the mouth rinse and asked to hold it in the mouth, gargle it around, take to their throat and spit it out before you actually examine the patient. Again, barrier protection by covering all the surfaces and yourself is one way of protecting yourself from the virus. And rubber dam isolation, again, is the most important or third aspect of it. I'll introduce you to the basic rubber dam armamentarium. Okay, we have the sheet. These sheets are available in different colors and different thicknesses. There are two varieties of sheets available. They are the rubber sheets and the non-rubber sheets for those who are allergic to latex. Then you have an assortment of clamps. It is for a person who starts with rubber dam, it might be difficult for them to choose the clamp. So I will tell you about what are my favorites and how exactly I choose them. You know, then you have your retainer or clamp forceps. That is the instrument that you use to carry the clamp into the tooth of the patient. And you have different, an assortment of frames again. The Young's rubber dam frame, the Nygaard Osprey, the Starlight. The Young's frame is the metal one. The Nygaard Osprey and Starlight are plastic ones. I will tell you all this in detail. Then you have a punch to punch the holes in the rubber dam pertaining to the tooth that you want to isolate. Then to position your rubber dam correctly, we have a stamp or a template where you can place your rubber dam, mark the tooth that you want to isolate, punch it and isolate it or take it to the oral cavity. Then we have wedgets to stabilize the rubber dam. If you don't have wedget, you can use a piece of rubber dam itself. I will tell you all the techniques later. And dental floss again to check the contacts between the teeth as well as to secure the clamps as well as to stabilize the dam. All this you can use the dental floss. So see, this is the basic armamentarium that you need for a rubber dam isolation. Sheets are available in different sizes. Usually 6 into 6 inches is the bigger one and 5 into 5 one is the smaller one. 6 into 6 inches can be used for when you want to isolate multiple teeth. Like when you're applying bleach, office bleach, or when you are doing sticky composite procedures for multiple teeth. Again, you can use a 6 into inch. It is an adult size one and it can be used for multiple teeth isolation. If it is for a single tooth isolation, the 5 into 5 inches one is good enough. They are available in different thicknesses. Thin is the thinnest. Then you have medium, you have heavy, you have extra heavy, and you have special heavy rubber dams, depending on your use. The thickness of the dam sheet increases as the category changes. Yeah. And you have different colors basically. Some people would want lighter colors basically because if you want an intraoperative radiograph, these lighter ones is slightly see-through. So you can see through them, place your place your intraoral radiograph inside and shoot. Dark ones give you contrast. Like if you want to work on the tooth and you want to have some contrast, you can use darker sheets. And these are the most frequently used rubber dams. Because of latex allergies, we have different products available called the Isodam non-latex, Flexidam non-latex, artificial latex and latex-free rubber dams. These can be purchased and can be used for those individuals who have got latex allergy. So all sorts of varieties and possibilities are there. So once you start using it, you can experiment on this and choose the one that fits or that is most beneficial for you. You have a rubber dam template. I told you different types of templates are available. The steel one is autoclavable. Very easy to use this. You just need to place your dam sheet on this, identify the tooth that you're going to isolate, tooth or teeth that you're going to isolate, and or mark it. Actually, I would say you can, if you 400 now, in the wake of COVID, we will all have to practice 400 dentistry. So if you can train your assistant to mark holes for you, saves a lot of chairside time. That's what I do. My chairside assistant knows how to mark it and punch holes. Actually, one of our junior doctors, I was always doing it myself. So one of my junior doctors, I saw her, getting it done by her assistant. That's when it struck me that, it's so much easier when you train your assistant to do all this. So it's very simple. Place the tooth, mark it. Tooth numbering basically needs to be taught. And they can punch it for you and give it to you so that you can place it. So it's very easy to do that. You have a punch. The punch has got the different types of punches. We have the Ainsworth punch and the ivory punch. This is the ivory punch. Ivory punch has got a turntable. Turntable has got multiple sized holes. So these holes, depending on the size of the tooth that you want to isolate, the tooth that you want to isolate can be chosen. So for anteriors, you can use the smallest holes, the medium size holes. The size ranges from 0.2 to 7 millimeters, 0.02 to 0.7 millimeters, sorry. And this can be used to make the holes on the tooth. It's got a sharp pointed plunger, which is used on the rubber dam, and with a single punch, you make a hole on it. And many times you would want a hole which is bigger than the punch, the largest punch hole. So then you can, slightly offshoot the plunger and then punch again to get a bigger hole. So that is what it is used for, the rubber dam punch. The Ainsworth punch is the other type of punch. It is useful when you have to punch holes for the posteriors, because you can see that you can push the dam so much inside the Ainsworth punch, so that it's easier for you to punch the hole for a posterior tooth. So these are the different types of punch we have. I use an ivory punch. Then you have an assortment of clamps. When you look at the clamps, you get confused. So for front teeth, we have ivory number 6, 9, 19, and 20, 212S and 15. You just need 9 most of the times, and anteriors, you just use your floss and your wedges to isolate them. But if at all, if you need a clamp, 1 or 2 anterior clamps are more than enough. Then for the premolars, we have smaller beaked clamps. I will come to the parts of the clamps when I'm explaining it. I've recorded a small short video for you. So in that, I'll explain the parts of the clamps for you. We have, for premolars, we have ivory number 1, number 2, number 2A. 2A, whenever you say A, basically it has got bigger beaks. Beaks are bigger beaks. And it is a little tilted downwards so that it can be placed subgingivally, so that a tooth which has got less crown structure can be grasped. Again, molars, you have, for the molars, you have an assortment of clamps. You get confused, So depending on the size, you can again choose the molar clamps. Some are serrated. The 12A and 13A, which we use for primary teeth, are serrated. The edges are serrated. You can see the serrations at the edges of 12A and 13A. It again grasps the tooth much better with the serrated clamps. So these are the numbers that we use for the molar clamps. And you have wingless clamps as well. The 2 classifications are, you have winged clamps and wingless clamps. Wingless clamps are less cumbersome. You can use it, very useful for molars. So, upper maxillary molars. So these clamps does not have a wing, and it becomes easier for you to, you don't have to stretch it stretch your dam above the wings. When I show you the video, you will understand. So this comes in numbers W, 8A and 26N. Now coming to the parts of a rubber dam, you have a bow. This is the bow of a rubber dam. Then you have central arm. You have the
wings of the rubber dam. The wings have got, there are two wings, the central wing and the anterior wing. The central arm or the anterior arm, we call it. Then you have contact points on either side. These are the contact points. And you have a notch here through which you have to slip the rubber dam. And the clamp holes are there, the clamp holes are there, which is used to carry the clamp. The forceps is engaged in the holes and is used to carry the clamp to the tooth. So I was telling you about the clamp choices, okay? So these are the clamps that you can use for, if you have this many clamps, you can very well manage to place your rubber dam. The 12 and 13A can be used for, 13A is for the left side and the 12A is for the right side. It is serrated and can be, 2A is for an this much is enough for a pediatric molar isolation mostly, because the number 2A can be used for a first primary molar and these two can be used for a second primary molar. Again, for molars in adults, you have, for maxillary molars, you can have 8 and 8A. And like I said earlier, if you see the 8A has a beak which is more sharper and tilted inwards so that the tooth can be engaged subgingivally. The only thing is when you're using the 14A and 8A clamps, you need to be a little cautious about not hurting the gingiva of the individual, because you may need some time to learn the technique of placing it. So if you are comfortable with the 14 and 8, then you can progress to 14A and 8A. Then you have the wingless clamp W3. Then for anteriors, you have number 9. And these are for premolars, the smaller one. This clamp, if you see the size 01, has got a very long bow or a higher bow. Higher bow is beneficial because in case of long tooth, when the bow is low, it is difficult for you to work with your handpiece. So this can be used for premolars or teeth which are longer, the 01. And the 2A can be used, for the number 2A can be used for a premolar. So these many clamps, if you can, these are my clamp choices. So if you have these many clamps, you can very well place your rubber dam. Then comes the clamp forceps. Two styles that we have are the ivory one, and this is the ivory one, and the white one. And this can use to engage the holes onto the clamp, and you can use it to place and remove the clamp on the tooth. Again, I told you we have different types of rubber dam frames. This one is the Nygaard. The central one, which is round, is the Nygaard. Allergy. Again, you can keep it between the patient's face and the rubber so that the rubber doesn't touch the face. You can use your own tissue paper, cut a hole into it and take the shape of this and use it. But custom-made ones are also available. Rubber dam napkins. Clamp cushions. Clamp cushions are a piece of rubber that is kept on the beaks of the clamp so that the tissue around is not damaged. So then you have lubricants also. Lubricants basically help you to slip the dam onto the clamp before you place it. So you can use your normal Vaseline or your lignocaine gel for that. The dental floss, again, dental floss is used for multiple purposes: to secure the dam properly, to tie the dam with a piece of floss is very useful because it saves us from slipping. In case the clamp slips into the oral cavity and the patient is going to aspirate it or swallow it, you can retrieve it very easily with the floss tied around it. So this dental floss can be used for that, and dental floss again is used to check the contacts between the tooth. Before you place the dam, you need to check the contacts between the tooth. So that again can be done with the dental floss. So dental floss is also a very useful accessory for the dam. Now we have different placement techniques. Rubber dam is not something which is difficult to place, and the textbooks gives you a lot of techniques. So I will explain all the 3 techniques to you, and I have taken the video of one specific technique which I use because I always use that technique, so I have recorded that. So the first thing is to orient your rubber dam. So you need to first place it onto the rubber dam template and mark the area where you want to isolate. I would suggest that you start with a single tooth. Always, instead of trying to isolate multiple tooth at the same time, then you can improvise and innovate once you learn how to do it. Just place your rubber dam onto the what do you call it? Rubber dam template or stamp. Mark the tooth with a pen and punch the right size hole onto it. The clamp selection is very important because if the clamp is loose on the tooth, it can get dislodged while you're working. So choose the clamp tightly. You have to check the clamp before you actually start placing the rubber dam. So take the clamps that you have, choose the clamps, possible clamps, place it onto the tooth and see which one is apt for the tooth. Check for its fitting and make sure that it fits the tooth properly. Then you take your dam sheet, mark the dam sheet with the right hole, you punch a hole onto it, and then you use a bit of a lubricant to slip the, I'll show the video. So all this which I have told you becomes much easier for you to understand while I'm showing the video. So then you use a bit of a lubricant onto this. I personally don't use a lubricant because I'm very clumsy and I keep dropping things. So with the lubricant on, I will invariably drop something. So I don't use a lubricant, but lubricant makes it easier in the initial times when you try to do the rubber dam. So using the lubricant, you stretch the hole over the bow first and the anterior arm of the clamp, not the central arm. I'd shown you the central arm. And then once it is, you stretch it and see if it is fitting properly. And before you use the dam, again, one thing I forgot to tell you is before you punch a hole on the dam sheets can get, because it is rubber, can get spoiled if you stock it for a very long time. So stretch it and see if it is, after you punch the hole, stretch it and see if it tears. If it tears, don't use it, because it is not going to serve the purpose. And again, the dam sheet should be stored in the refrigerator, should not be left outside, because that affects the shelf life of the dam sheets. It will be better if you store it in the refrigerator. So then once you slip it onto that, you use a clamp forceps to carry the dam. If you four-handed dentistry, in that fourth picture, you can see that the assistant is holding the dam straight for you so that your orientation is correct. If your assistant is not trained, then this becomes much easier. Carry the clamp onto the tooth that you want to isolate. Stretch that. Once you carry the clamp, place it. Stretch your dam underneath the central arm. You can use a flat bladed instrument or your hand. I use a flat bladed instrument to stretch this part of the arm needs to be carried on to the central part of the wing. So that is done with a plastic carrying instrument or your hand also. You can do it, but it becomes a little difficult to do it with your hand. Once that is done, you secure the frame onto the dam sheet. This is how you place the frame onto you stretch it, and there are pegs on the frame. You engage the edges of the dam sheet onto the pegs so that it stays properly in that area. That is how you do it. Once it is done, if the dam sheet is stretched too much, you can see that the clamp will pop out. So the stretching should be sufficient enough just to hold the dam sheet taut. Don't pull it too hard. If you pull it too hard, it will slip out of it. Especially if you use a lubricant, it will slip out of the tooth and you will have to start all over again. So that is how it is engaged. You can use a flat bladed instrument to push this part of the dam sheet underneath the central arm. You can see this is the first part of the wing. The central arm is still covered with it and you can push it down. So I'll play the video. Is it audible?
No, ma'am.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I'll go back. I think.
It's audible. It's audible.
Yeah, I'll play that. Yeah.
Then summer.
think the video is not audible.
Video is not audible?
No.
One second, I'll pause it.
Yep.
I'll stop share and raise the volume, I think. But my volume is full. I have raised the volume fully.
But it's not audible actually.
Is it? Oh, okay. One second, I'll stop share and raise the volume and see. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
I'm not able to do that. Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not able to do that. I don't know what's wrong.
Oh,
One
just try.
second, let me see. Yeah, let me see once again and share the screen and let me see. Okay. Okay. Now see.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, now it's audible.
Hello, madam. It's not audible.
This is full volume in my computer.
Madam, can you explain with the audio?
Yeah, I can. I can do that. Do you want me to start from beginning then?
Yes, if you could.
Yeah, I can. So this is the parts of the rubber dam. We have placed the sheet onto the side and the dull side. We are going to mark the tooth that we are going to isolate. There are two sides for the rubber dam sheet, the dull side and the shiny side. The shiny side goes inside and the dull side comes out. This is the clamp. This is a 13A clamp. Lower left side lower molars, you can use a 13A clamp. We have the punch. I said multiple size holes are there. 7 to, yeah. Smaller molars for the canines and premolars, anteriors. Clamp carrier or clamp forceps to carry the clamp into the mouth. This is the flat instrument. Rubber dam into wings. The clamp has a bow. It has got two wings, the central arm and the anterior arm. The two contact points, holes to engage your forceps on. The beaks engage the tooth above the gingiva. Was that clear? Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
It was okay, no?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So now goes about the placement of it. So now the dam is being stretched onto the clamp. First above the bow and then above the anterior arm of the wing. You can see that. Now the rubber engages the central arm and with the clamp forceps, it is being taken to the mouth. I'll show you in the next video. The clamp with the sheet is carried onto the tooth and placed onto the tooth, that is 7-4 I am isolating. With children, it is little difficult. You need to continuously talk to them. So you stretch the dam over the pegs of your rubber dam frame. Marking the dam makes it much easier. The orientation becomes much easier, you know, for you when you're doing it initially. That's it. Thing you have to be cautious is not to cover the nostrils of the patient. Make sure that it is bent enough because the sheets are usually big for children, you know. It becomes difficult for them. That's just fold it down. Yeah. Now you can use that flat bladed instruments to just push the dam underneath the central vein slowly. That goes underneath and seals the tooth completely. So you can see that the tongue is not going to interfere. You don't have to use your cotton rolls. Yeah. The tooth is isolated now. So that is, I think it was okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So that was the first technique. That is, you punch the hole, then you lubricate it, then you stretch your sheet over the bow and the anterior arm, place your clamp carrier onto the holes, carry it onto the tooth. So if you have the help of your assistant, you can stretch it and carry it, place it onto the tooth, and stretch your frame, stretch your dam over the frames, over the edges of the pegs, and place it taut. Finally, you use a flat bladed instrument and just slip the dam underneath the central part of it. That's it, you are done with. And that is how you isolate a single tooth. When you have to isolate, I'll first finish this and then I will come and talk to you about the multiple tooth thing. So that is the first technique of doing it. And the second technique, if you have an assistant who is smart enough, you can ask the assistant to stretch the these are not my pictures. The assistant should wear gloves, obviously, to stretch the hole over the tooth like this and hold it there while you place the clamp onto it and then place the frame onto it. This is the second technique. There is a slight variation. You can make the hole, put a finger through the hole, stretch it enough and make sure that it doesn't tear, and then just uh, stretch it over the tooth, hold it there and place the clamp onto it. The assistant is holding it and the dentist is placing the clamp onto it. That's it. And then you stretch the dam over the frame. That's the second technique. The third technique, which is again very popular among people who feel confident about doing it, is to stretch the, first you place the clamp onto the sheet and then the frame also onto the sheet, stretch it over that and carry the frame as well as the clamp together onto the tooth. That is the third technique of placing the rubber dam. You can see the picture, you can very well appreciate that, you know, everything is in place and then you just the clamp is going to be carried onto the tooth. So for patients who are slightly claustrophobic and patients who feel uncomfortable, you can always, you know, explain to them that, you know, such a thing is going to be done and, you know, you have to prepare them, especially children, you have to prepare them a bit, tell them and then go ahead with doing the thing. But once they experience it, once nothing leaches into the oral cavity, patient feels very comfortable. And you can always put your suction tip before you place it so that, you know, whatever saliva that pools into the mouth can be sucked out. If at all, if you need to remove the frame in between, you can remove the frame while you're doing the procedure, remove the frame, fold the rubber dam to one side and suck the saliva out. You can do that. If you want to make a radiograph in between, you can do that. Take the frame out, place the radiograph. You can go in and click with the clamp on. It is not going to interfere. If the clamp is going to interfere, if you want the radiograph of the tooth crown, but otherwise for the roots, it is not going to interfere. So working length can be made, absolutely no problem with the clamp on. Again, now I want to tell you about how to knot the floss onto the rubber dam. This is called a lark head or a cow hitch knot. It's very simple. All you have to do is take a length of the dental floss, fold it and slip the other two edges through that so that your clamp is through the hole you can do it or through the bow you can do it, just to make sure that your clamp is secure and you can tie the or just rotate the edges onto it, onto the frame. The advantage is in some clamps can break at the bow, the center of the bow. If there is too much pressure on the bow, if it breaks, what happens is there is a rubber sheet that is taut underneath that. So it can just push the clamp pieces out. So to prevent that and to you know, save you and your patient, that you can secure the edges of the clamp with a floss. And this is how a lark head or a cow hitch knot is what we use to knot it onto the clamp. Now, so this is a wingless clamp. These are the different ways of isolating the tooth with a clamp. You can use two clamps on either side and the dam like this and isolate all the front teeth, especially when you have to bleach them, you have to do cosmetic procedures on the anteriors. It becomes much easier for you to isolate the teeth completely from the oral cavity because there's no contamination, saliva contamination, your work is going to be definitely much better. So this is for a restoration. Again, you can see how clearly you can see the margins and how well you can restore the tooth, if at all, if it is secured with the clamp. This is because the tooth structure does not have a wall on this side. A band piece is being adapted onto the tooth before placing the clamp onto the tooth. It's always mandatory that you apply some amount of topical anesthetic agents, because in case initially when you place, you might place the clamp beaks on the gingiva. So just be cautious about it. Don't inflict pain on the patient. And try and place it on the tooth. That it is not supposed to be kept on the gingiva. It is supposed to be kept on the contour of the tooth. Where the tooth neck ends and the root begins. That is where you engage the clamp beaks. Again, I told you about the dental floss being very useful. The dental floss can be used to secure. See, when you place the clamp, the margins place the dam, the margins are going to interfere with the work that you're going to do. So if you want to retract the dam completely and take it up, you can use your dental floss to completely retract it from the tooth. And the septa can be completely retracted from the tooth with the use of a dental floss. This is another way of doing it. Here, if you see, they have used 2 molar clamps on the anteriors to isolate a tooth which has got no crown structure. This is the tooth that they wanted to isolate and build upon. And since there was absolutely no crown structure, you can do one thing. You can, two ways of doing it is like, not this tooth, but if you have less crown structure, what you can do is build up the tooth before you actually place before your endo procedure. If you can remove the caries, build up the tooth and then place the dam, so that the clamp has some area to grasp on. And another technique that you can do is, when you want to do a tooth adjacent to a tooth which is sound, you can engage your clamp onto that and just cut off the septa, so that multiple teeth are isolated. That again can be done. So this is how they have engaged the molar clamps on the anteriors and isolated a tooth which has absolutely no crown structure. These are the innovations and improvisations that you can do with the clamp. There is no hard and fast rule that you should use this, you should use that. Anything can be used provided you are comfortable with it. You can improvise on that. That's absolutely fine. Yeah. So I'll just play another video. There is no need of a voice for this. I just want to show you how convenient it is to do an access cavity opening, extirpate. And I've done an access cavity opening for the child on which I applied the rubber dam. Now I've opened the access and I'm now extirpating the pulp now. There is no saliva contamination. So it is so much easier. You dry the cavity and use your edge files to extirpate the pulp completely, very conveniently. You can irrigate, you can use your hypochlorite. Hypochlorite is very useful to dissolve the tissues off. If the child does not have a rubber dam, the hypochlorite is going to be very caustic and the child is going to be terribly uncomfortable with the hypochlorite. But with the dam on, irrigating with hypochlorite is not at all an issue. You need to continuously talk. While you're doing it on children, you need to continuously talk to them and distract them and soothe them so that they are comfortable. Extirpation, irrigation, and canal isolation, everything becomes much easier. Locating canals in a primary molar sometimes becomes a challenge. And with the better visibility, it becomes much easier for you to do that. Once the pulp is completely out, there will not be any bleed. You can see the cavity clearly now. There is no bleed and the pulp is out and the patient is comfortable. Now, how do you remove it? That's also important. First, you remove the frame. Then I'll play the video after this. Then you cut when you have isolated multiple teeth, you have to make sure that you cut the septa. Otherwise, what happens is it can cause gingival bleed. So cut the septa off and remove the clamps. Remove the dam. If it is engaged with the help of widgets or dental floss, you have to remove that. Then remove the dam. When you remove the dam, you have to check whether the dam is completely out. You have to examine the rubber dam finally, and you have to wipe the lips and massage the tissue so that the patient is comfortable. So we shouldn't leave any tags of rubber dam between the teeth, especially when you are isolating multiple teeth. So the septa needs to be cut out completely, and the rubber dam needs to be examined before you leave the patient. You remove the frame, use a clamp forceps or a carrier, engage it into the holes, release the clamp slowly by expanding the arms, and slowly slip the dam out. Wipe the face, massage the tissue, and send the patient. There are different varieties of dams that are available. They are the Optra dam. Optra dam is another invention. It doesn't have a frame. And the template also is needed because the marking is already done on them. And it is convenient, especially when you have to isolate multiple anterior teeth, because you don't have to worry about the frame and all that paraphernalia. But it's available in regular size, it's available in small size for children. So it is available it is available in a sealed pouch. You can open the pouch in front of the patient, take it out. It's very simple to place it. I wanted to make a video of it, but I didn't have the small one with me, and I didn't have an adult patient to try the regular one now. So I will show you how exactly it is done. I have kept the dam sheet with me. It comes with two rings like this. The part with the hole, you can see me, I guess, right? The part with the hole faces out. This part faces out. And this side, if you see, there are markings for your punching. So when you turn it, it comes on the contralateral side. So for the left side, you have to punch here, and for the right side, you have to punch here. So if I am the patient, it comes over me like this. It's very easy to place because there is an inner ring, which you have to put your hands inside and grasp out. See, this is how you grasp it. There is an inner ring, which I've grasped with my finger. Just take it out. When you take it out, see, this is how it looks. See? This is how it looks. So the edges are like this. Can you see the edges? This goes in the patient's mouth. Just fold it and put it into the patient's mouth on either side. This part. Can you appreciate it? This part. So that's it. And then you leave it. So this ring, the inner ring will be inside the patient's mouth, and the outer ring will be around the patient's mouth. And this is how it would be. And then you can push the dam through the tooth and place it, secure it with a clamp. Anteriors, you don't have to do anything. Through the punch holes, just push it through push the septa in between the teeth. That is the interdental area. The septa can be just pushed through. The septa is the small piece of rubber between the two holes. So punch it and push it through that so that the patient feels comfortable. And if you want, you can use widgets and you can use the dental floss to tie it. So that is how you place an Optra dam. That is how I hope you have understood. Can I get a feedback? Was I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So that's an Optra dam. Then you have other similar variants like the Insti dam, the Handy dam. All these are variants of ready-made dams, like a capsule dam. So these can be utilized. So that's it. Now There are certain inconveniences of rubber dam isolation, people would say, but I don't agree with it. It takes time to be applied. Like I said, if you put in a little bit of effort and start placing the dam, it becomes much easier for you to place the dam. It hardly would take 1 minute for you to place the dam. Then communication with the patient is difficult. I wouldn't say it is actually an inconvenience, because if the patient spits out multiple times and keeps talking to you, then it becomes your time is actually saved when they don't do that. I hope you all agree with me, but that is how I feel. Again, possible damage to crown and gingival tissues. That is only in the initial stages when you really don't know how to place the dam. Once you learn, place the clamp rather. Once you learn how to place the clamp well, then there is no question of you damaging the crown or the gingival tissue. You know, initially the clamp size might be difficult for you to choose. So it's always better, like I say, it's always better to choose your clamp before you punch the hole and all that. Make the patient sit comfortably, select your clamp, place it onto the tooth, check the fit properly, and try out. You have an assortment of some 8 clamps that comes with it. With the Optradam, one thing I would say, like to say, is there is no investment with the Optradam. In the sense, like, you can, each piece would cost you, if the kit is bought, it is about 14,000. It ranges from 6,000 to 14,000 up to 20,000. I think you have different dams available. So it's an initial big investment for a initial practitioner or a practitioner who's not established himself. You can buy these Optradams and an assortment of clamps. Clamps are available. Colteam has an assortment of clamps. Any of these clamp sets can be bought, which has about 8 to 10 clamps. And these clamps, you can check, you know, which is to be used. All the information is on the net. Just try using the clamps, place it onto the tooth, check for the fit, and make sure that it is comfortable. And then you stretch your dam onto the tooth if you're using a conventional dam. And for an Optradam, after you push it onto the tooth first, you can engage the clamp onto the tooth. So initial expenses only for the clamp and the Optradam. Optradam comes in pieces. I think each piece would cost you from 70 to 150. Last time when I checked with the vendors, it's available from rupees 70 to 150. So you don't have to invest in a dam kit initially, which is expensive maybe. Okay. The possible damage to crowns and gingival tissues, again, is not a problem, if at all, if you learn how to do it properly. Insecure clamp may be swallowed or aspirated. Again, this, you have to take precautions for that. Clamps, it is better to invest in good clamps, because, you know, over a period of time, because the clamp is what holds it, and the clamp is what, you know, the pressure is on the clamp. So it is better that you use a good clamp so that it doesn't break from the center.
Madam, can we use Optradam for posteriors?
Yeah, you can use Optradam for posteriors also.
Okay.
You need a clamp then. See, when you punching holes, another thing I forgot to tell you is, when you're punching holes, no, there is a marking onto that. Okay. So if you are punching a hole, if it is the most posterior tooth and your punch hole is on the side, it becomes difficult for you to push the hole onto the tooth. You're getting my point? So you can change the position of your, instead of following that marking, you can just change the position of your punch a little bit to the center. Okay, so your clamp, after you place the clamp, it looks a little lopsided, but the advantage is it is easier for you to push the hole onto the tooth if the hole is punched, especially for the second and third molars. If you're using it, you can do that. But you need a little bit of, it's difficult. It is, you need to learn it. The normal, this is better for posteriors. You need to really learn how to isolate it, but you can use. There are certain contraindications for Davadam. Asthmatic patients, I would say you shouldn't use it, because, you know, in this thing on the face sometimes initiate patient. If at all, if the patient has a breathless episode, it takes a while for you to remove the whole paraphernalia out of the patient's mouth. Again, that is same with epileptic patients. If they get an attack, then it becomes difficult for you to, you know, take the thing out of the patient's mouth. It takes a while. Claustrophobic patients wouldn't want. Some patients are terribly uncooperative and uncomfortable with the Rabadam. For them, you can definitely tell them the problems of not using it, and then not use it. Mouth breathers, again, find it very uncomfortable when you cover their mouth completely. So again, for mouth breathers, what you can do is, if at all, if you have to use the clamp, you can again punch the hole a bit to the center and keep it lopsided, so that the frame is onto one side, or onto the side on which you want to work on, and you can use the suction on the other side, and there is some gap so through which they can breathe. Again, that is possible for mouth breathers. Then patients with latex allergy, you have gloves which are non-latex gloves are there. You can use your rubber dam the tissue paper underneath. Hyperplastic tissue around the tooth that bleeds easily. Again, when you engage the clamp, it starts bleeding so much that isolation is not possible, and sometimes it slips out, and the bleed will cause a mess there. So if at all you feel the tissue around the tooth is terribly hyperplastic and that bleeds easily, you can avoid using the clamp onto that. Again, when the contact is so tight that the septa will tear, then again you cannot use your rubber dam. Severe crowding. Again, you can use your floss to pass through the tooth and see how tight it is. Sometimes you can use a normal separator onto that space, and then get some amount of space between the teeth, and then use your rubber dam. For again, erupting tooth, you have to be a little cautious not to damage the tissue around, and placing a clamp might be difficult for an erupting tooth. So again, these are the contraindications that will be difficult for you to use the dam on. So every time I talk about something where there is an investment, people ask me about the return of income. I really don't know about a rubber dam, how much of it you can retrieve it back. Not in terms of money probably, but in terms of infection control and your safety, you can save a lot of, you can be safe. You can save a lot of tension probably with the use of a rubber dam, if not money. I would like to say that before I end my presentation. I hope it was useful. Now you can ask me whatever you want to about the dam.
You can leave your questions in the chat box if you want. Anybody, any questions, any doubts?
If you want me to repeat anything, since we have finished on time,
Yeah.
I think we have enough and more time. So you can ask me anything. I would like to repeat anything that you want me to.
Sorry.
Either everybody who is going to use rubber dam or they hate rubber dam now. I don't know.
Madam, when you want to work on, madam, when you want to
I'm
work on
listening.
distal proximal side, you want to punch two holes, right? Yeah. On the proximal side, you want to punch two holes on the adjacent tooth, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the
Yes.
two teeth needs to be exposed, right?
Yeah, you can. You can see. You can cut the septa off and isolate only those teeth. You're getting me? If you want to, if the septa is interfering with your work, you can cut it off.
Okay.
You can punch two holes, and if the septa is interfering, you can cut off the septa. But when you cut off the septa, what happens is the tight seal goes. Then some amount of saliva leaching will be there. So you have to place your suction underneath and keep sucking.
Okay. So any
You
more
can
doubts?
isolate. You don't have to engage the clamp on the tooth that you're working on if you're uncomfortable. You can always engage the clamp onto the adjacent tooth and work on this tooth. You're getting me?
Right.
You have to secure it in the anterior end and the posterior end. Posteriorly, you can use a clamp. Anteriorly, you can use a widget or a floss. Am I clear?
Yeah. Ma'am, another one question. Is it possible to use Palodin matrix when using rubber dam?
I didn't get the question.
Is it possible to use Palodent matrix when using rubber dam?
I'm not familiar with the Palodin matrix. Can you tell me what it is?
Well, I don't know. Dr. Nathan asked.
Nathan?
It's a retainer metric system that we use for class 2 cavities.
Okay, yeah, okay. I think you can use any. See, I use a wedge. I use as a retainer and a matrix. There's absolutely no contraindication in you using it. If you're, that's what I told you. If your septa is interfering, you can cut the septa off. When you're doing proximal restoration, if your septa is interfering with it, you can definitely cut it off.
Another question, can you demonstrate a flow tie for retraction? Can you demonstrate a flow tie for retraction?
Demonstration might be a little difficult. I haven't got any cast on it. All you have to do is loop the, I told you about the Lockheed knot, right? Lockheed knot is done and you have a loop, right? Just stretch it on and just pull it up and tighten the knot and keep it there. You can just take it off.
Okay.
Is that clear?
I hope.
Just do a Lockheed knot, take it onto the tooth, pass it through the interdental area and pull it up. That's it. Tighten it. And if you want, you can tie it also, no problem.
Another question, what about retention of cushioned clamps over standard ones? Cushion
clamps are good. Cushion clamps are good. But the cushions are bulky. So if your restoration is extending onto your buccal or lingual surface, it becomes difficult for you to see because the cushion is there and you have to be worried about touching the cushion with your burr. That is the problem with the cushion. If you're working on the occlusal surface, cushion clamps are the best because you can cushion it. The patient finds it very comfortable because it doesn't pinch onto the tooth or the pressure is not felt. There's a cushion between the tooth and the clamp peaks. But when you have to, work on the sides, then your burr might touch the cushion and, tear the cushion. Is that what they meant?
I guess so. Toffelmeier matrix class 2 cases, how to use? Toffelmeier matrix in class 2 cases, how to use?
How to use the Toffelmeier matrix with the band, with the dam?
I think so. This is what he asked. Yes, ma'am.
With the dam on.
Do we use it before or after damming? We need to use the Toffelmeier. That might be the question.
That is after damming it. You cannot, once the dam, before the dam is on, if anything is there, you can't, stretch the dam on. Otherwise, if you are using a, dam onto a tooth, placing the clamp onto a tooth that you're not working on, you can do that. See, when you're using a matrix on a tooth, you don't have to necessarily clamp that tooth. You can clamp the adjacent tooth. You getting my point? See, when you're using a matrix band on a tooth which you're going to reconstruct, you don't have to use the place the clamp onto that specific tooth. You can clamp.
Some
Hello?
network problem?
Yeah, I think so. Hello?
Dr. Adina just called her.
Yeah.
The video post.
Yeah, I think so. Just call her, Adina.
Madam's network cut ആയിക്കാണ്.
I think video is post.
Yeah, video is post.
Yeah.
ഡോക്ടറെ വിളിക്കണോ?
Yeah, Adina is calling her.
Adina വിളിക്കുക.
What happened, Adina?
So, മോഡത്തിന് എന്തോ പ്രശ്നമാണെന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു. മോഡം വേറെ കണക്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ട് വിളിക്കാന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. There's something wrong with this modem.
We'll wait. No problem.
We'll wait for some time.
In the meantime, Dr. Abhilash can have a few words on the webinar and all.
Yeah, it was a nice webinar, but Dr. Anjana is not on the line, so I want to mention some few words
Something,
about
okay. Then we
Dr.
will wait.
Anjana, so we'll wait. I think that's an informative one. And actually, I asked her to mention some points about managing pediatric patient during this corona time. So she agreed to me. She will do something. She mentioned some points about
Yeah, she has
pediatric practice.
made some presentations on that also. She will be discussing that.
Okay. I think some technical problem. So
Dr. Biju and I can appreciate your presence. You can say a few
Okay.
words like this.
Thank you, Dr. Sharon,
Yeah.
for inviting me. It's a very useful webinar. I think since the scene is changing on our practice, the scene is changing. We are changing our board of practice. Like usually we used to practice without even a white coat, without trousers and pants. Those who were practicing in the clinic are now seen practicing with the gowns and head cap and all that. And the scene is changing, and I think this rubber lamp, which will, as Dr. Angela said, will help in infection control, spread of aerosols, and it will come to the regular practice of regular dental surgeons in India, I think. And so I really think it will be very much a useful webinar. Anyway, she is not here. We'll wait for her to come after the modem is connected. Thank you, Dr. Sharon, President.
Dr. Adina, kindly check what is
Yes.
just check what is the current situation.
I'm a question to Dr. Biju, as he's a KDC member.
Yes.
Dr. Biju, can we apply credit points for this webinars? Is KDC discussing anything, this matter?
Actually, since the scene is changed, not only in practice, in our CDA sessions also, it's all are conducted, and only it's possible by webinars only. So this question was asked me earlier also, and I have conveyed this to Kerala Dental Council. Unfortunately, we are not having meetings, and Dental Council has decided to have this online meeting, or Zoom or other online meetings, and I have just conveyed this matter, and I will inform you more about what decision is going to take, even without an official meeting at the office. How we can tackle this matter is on the line. I will inform you.
Okay, so please consider this. You can send certificates through online and all. So a lot of people want credit points from KDC. So please consider this matter.
Yeah,
very useful. That's a very much valid point, Dr. IPP, State IPP, Dr. Abhilash is a very valid point, and I will do what is needed for this.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Adina, what's this?
No, she's not responding.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe we will wait for something. Dr. Abhilash can call her.
Okay, I'm trying. Okay, she will be joining within 1 or 2 minutes because there was a power failure. So modem disconnected. Modem got disconnected. So she connected to the inverter and she's coming. She's joining within few minutes. Just wait.
Okay. Dr. Adina, you can announce the next webinar after the program, and whoever wants to join, we can.
If it's planned, can always suggest if it can be announced only after getting the permission from ideating executive. If you have a suggestion, you can suggest here and let it first be known to the ideating executive.
Actually, I'm planning to talk with Dr. Sabish. Just on, I just have planned. I have to talk. It might be this month last or the next month beginning. Anyway, I'll be informing you, everyone, after discussing with our SDKPs.
Getting the permission from.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. We'll plan it after getting the permission from executive.
Yes.
See, this year's webinars were very effective and informative and was very good sessions. Well done, Dr. Adina. CD Wing is doing a nice job for ideating.
Sure. Thank you.
I know you are working
Our
very hard.
NCARC is sparring like anything.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of you people.
Yeah. We are having a good team and
the support from our founder members, PST and all.
Yeah. Okay. And keep it up. Continue this energy for throughout this year.
Fifth webinar in just 60-70 days.
Yes.
Tremendous achievement.
In spite of this reverse condition.
Yeah, and Juna doctor is here, I guess. She's joining us.
Oh. Yeah, very good.
Yes, doctor.
And my modem got switched off. I'm really sorry about it.
It's okay, ma'am.
It's okay, Dr. Anjana. Please continue.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm here.
Ma'am, I have a question, ma'am. In the presentation, you talked about the 3 techniques in rubber dam placement, right?
Yes.
Conventional technique. So, from your experience, which technique you prefer for the initial practitioners, ma'am? Those who are using rubber dam for the first time.
I always ask my students to start off with the technique that I showed you. Basically, because to carry, somebody's audio is on. There's a lot of disturbance. Yeah, so basically, if you want to use the second technique, you need an assistant. You need somebody to stretch the dam over the tooth and hold it before you place the clamp. You getting me? So you need an assistant for that. So the first technique, you can do it yourself because you don't need anybody's assistance. The third technique is you're carrying the frame also along. So you need some, experience in doing it. Some people find it easy. You try out all the three techniques, and whichever suits you better is fine.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Dr. Anjana, can you explain what is your experience in general anesthesia cases? Is it necessary to apply rubber dam, or anyways we are draping the patient? Patient is under general anesthesia, so is it necessary to apply rubber dam?
See, two things you have to think about. When you are doing general anesthesia, the patient has multiple procedures to be done. So you are doing a full mouth procedure when you're doing general anesthesia. So placing the dab might not be the most practical thing to do. One thing, you save a little bit of time because the anesthetist charge for the time. So all the delays that happen with the rubber dam again is charged and the patient expenses goes up. Second thing, you have a throat pack in place. So nothing is going to go into the throat. But if you're doing, some cases that I get. They do GA cases only because they don't want the child to cry. In such a situation where only minimum work is there and you want to do a good job with your composite, there is no contraindication in you using a rubber dam in GA. There is absolutely no contraindication. You need to think and use it in a wise manner, that's all. You need to be a little practical about it. Absolutely no contraindication. And for posteriors, and when you're doing multiple procedures, isolating the whole mouth with the rubber dam might take some time for you, which you can save. But there is no contraindication as such. Because the throat
Thank
back
you,
is in position, nothing will be aspirated as such.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Can we use standard posterior clamps on Optra dam or any other special clamps? Santosh Kumar.
You can use, you can use the standard clamps for Optra dam. Absolutely no contraindication for that. Optra dam doesn't come with clamps. You have to have your own clamps.
How to use in distal caries upper 7 procedures?
Upper 7, you can distal caries upper 7 procedures. You can use a wingless clamp, or you can clamp the tooth, the third molar, and you can work on it. The bow needs to be, whenever you're placing the clamp, make sure that the bow places distally, so that you can see well and you can access well. The bow is what interferes, Bow, there are clamps with, I told you, 0 number clamp. 0 number clamp has a huge bow. That is tall bow. So that helps you actually, use your handpiece, bigger handpiece and all. And the tooth, even if it is long, you can use a 0 number clamp.
Any more questions? Anybody?
Hi, ma'am. Abhilash here.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we discussed about this CD, they asked any special things to be considered for this corona time for pediatric patients.
You told me about that.
Yeah.
Corona and pediatric patients is a big challenge. I thought the patients will be very scared with me in that paraphernalia, but I think they have accepted me in that fancy dress. I have started my practice 2 weeks back, and most of the patients know, because they know my voice. And the only thing that you can communicate with your pediatric patient is with your voice now. So I am very, gentle with my voice. I talk in that singer-song voice. I say good morning to them. And another thing my PGs were suggesting was you can have a barrier, where initially when you can sit behind a screen and talk to the patient. One of my PGs suggested it. I was going through their suggestions. I had asked them to, make a small list of post-COVID practice protocols. So one of the PGs suggested use of a screen, so that the patient first sees you in your normal attire, then gets used to you, and then you wear your this thing telling that this is how they learned how to use the mask. You can go into your PPE and do the procedure. That is one thing. If the patient is too small and is not letting you do it, you can probably think about that. Otherwise, I follow all the standard operating procedures. In the reception, we do tiraging and telescreening. That is, the patient comes in only after a phone call. The patient gives a call. My receptionist has a set of questions which she asks. If the patient has had no contact and all that, we screen the patients, and those patients who possibly have had contacts are asked to come later. Patients who have had symptoms, who have traveled abroad, who have traveled to other states, all that is screened and asked to come later. And if one patient is there in the clinic, the other patient waits outside. They don't come in. Only when we give a call, after this patient is disposed of, they come in, and then all the sanitizations and their hand sanitization, mask, all that is taken care of. Nobody waits in the reception area. The moment the patient comes in, only one bystander is allowed, and all the emergency procedures are done. All the procedures that can wait are asked to come back later. Then in the operatory, again, you let only one parent in. Many times what happens is, for very young children, you need parent to be sitting on the chair. The child sits on the parent's lap. So the parent wears the mask and the child is there. So all that is followed. I think these are the things that, pediatric dentistry, managing the patient is the difficult thing,
Yeah, very difficult. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Already they are scared when they see this
That is a
dental
problem.
clinic setup. Then in this fancy dress, they are scared more and very difficult to manage them. Yeah, they are not recognizing us as, and we are managing with a cute smile, and we can't smile with a mask and all. So very difficult.
Very true.
Time.
So any more questions?
Then
I think it's over.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Abhilash. Next Sunday, that is Yoga Day, 21st of June, we are conducting an yoga webinar. Dr. Jidin will coordinate. So those who want to participate, kindly contact him.
You guys are very proactive.
Yeah, our young
yeah,
idea
is always active, ma'am.
young Turkish have taken our activities to another level. Some young Turkish like Adina, Jitin, and some other people, Rosh, etc.
Yeah, give some time, little minutes for me.
We are very proud of them. We are very proud of them.
Athena,
so I invite.
Actually, Dr. Sharon, a few minutes for me.
Yes. Sure.
Yeah. Hi, ma'am. I'm feeling very happy as a participant of the CD.
Definitely, we had it was a beneficial one. I hope everybody will start using it.
Yeah, definitely. We had a nice session today. Like Dr. Anjana said in the beginning, a lot of general practitioners are not using rubber dam, thinking it's too difficult to apply it.
It is not at all difficult.
Yeah. And you clearly demonstrated and convinced the participants that it's simple and more convenient and effective in our practice. The session was very much informative. Yeah, was informative, and the presentation was excellent. Thank you. And let me say a few words about Dr. Anjana. She was my vibrant team member of last year when I was the president as the editor general of IDEA Kerala State. And she is doing her best as the editor of Kerala Dental Journal, KDJ. An efficient leader, excellent academician, was the past president of IDEA Kochi and WDC chairperson of IDEA Kerala State, serving a lot to IDEA KSP with a lot of positive energy and enthusiasm.
Thank you.
I don't know how many of you know that she is holding a record in IDEA. She is the first lady office bearer of IDEA Kerala State. The history of IDEA Kerala, she is the first lady office bearer in the state.
I never realized it, unless John Kutisa called me and told me.
I don't know how many of you know that. She is the first lady office bearer of IDEA Kerala State in the state office. And so for all these reasons, when WDC and CDE convener approached me to propose a faculty for this WDC IDEA CDE, no doubt for me, I straight away mentioned Dr. Anjana's name. And when I discussed this matter to Dr. Anjana, she wholeheartedly accepted request and was ready to spare some few valuable time for us. And once again, thank you very much, madam, for this excellent and informative section.
Thank you. And don't please say that, I spared I'm not that busy also.
yeah. Anyway, I know that. And many congratulations to WDC of IDEA Attingal and CD wing of IDEA Attingal. Well done, Dr. Sharon A. Kalam, President. Secretary Dr. Deepak Das, WDC Chairperson Dr. Shamima Nisam, Secretary Dr. Meera Murali, and last but not least, our vibrant CDE convener Dr. Athena. Definitely, she is working very hard for the betterment of our practice through this type of useful series. Thank you all participants, and I'm so happy that we had the participation from different parts of the country. So thank you all.
Even around globe, around the globe,
yeah. Enjoyed the section, and thank you all.
So, ഈ സമയം കടന്നു പോകും എന്നാണല്ലോ ഈ ഒരു കൊറോണ ടൈമിന് ശേഷം I'm sure Dr. Anjana will come and will take some classes for us as a CD program, some hands-on.
Yeah. Not online. We need her in live, no?
We need her live. So I invite our CD convener, our vibrant CD convener, Dr. Adina Chandran, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, sir. So, dear colleagues, hope all of you had a wonderful and informative session by our own faculty, Dr. Anjana ma'am. We are fortunate to get her for a webinar today. And the session on rubber dam has periodic importance since we all are changing our practice methods for self and patients' protection due to the COVID-19 outburst. So let me express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Anjana for being with us and sharing the valuable information amongst the busy schedules. She's not only an HOD of Pedo department, but the editor of KDG also, as Abhilash Doctor said. On behalf of all of us and the IDEA Technical Branch, I thank her from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for being
Most
here.
welcome.
As you know, the series are conducted nowadays as webinars due to the peculiar situation. I thank the women's wing of the branch led by Dr. Shamima Nizam for organizing such a webinar. Thanks from the bottom of the heart to President Dr. Sharon Kalam and Secretary Dr. Deepak S. Das for all the support. Also thank Dr.
Some pediatric patient. Some pediatric patient is there, Dr. Anjana.
Pediatric intervention, yeah.
Say hi. Hi, Varun.
To manage her also.
Say
Yeah.
hi.
I know, I'm actually very happy that, the learning has become so informal, right? Now, seriously, you can sit at home and, do a lot of things. COVID has taught us a lot of good things also.
Okay.
Viola is there.
Sorry
Viola
for
is
the
there.
interruption. Also, I thank Dr. Abhilash Doctor and Biju Doctor for all the support for this program, especially for this program. They were there for everything. Thank you, sir, doctors. And I thank Dr. Arunas for the all the technical matters dealing with Zoom. He was there from the beginning, for all the webinars. Thank you, sir. And to all the participants here, today we had almost 76 participants from all over India, from all over the world. Thank you so much for being here and making it a huge success. I expect the same participation for the coming webinars too. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Adina. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Dr.
Thank you,
Anjana, thank
Tina.
you very much.
Thank you.
Meet you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks a lot, Dr.
Bye.
Anjana.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.